More RAM does not make your PC faster. Even a new CPU often won't fix a slow system. The real reason your computer feels fast or painfully slow is the drive inside it. SSD versus HDD. Same PC, same Windows, only one difference. HDD versus SSD. This is why upgrades don't feel like upgrades. But why are HDDs so much slower than SSDs? HDDs are so much slower because they're mechanical. The disk inside has to spin to work, and while it rotates, the drive has to search for your data. SSDs are much faster because they have no moving parts. Data is stored on memory chips, so the drive can access it instantly. That's why your PC boots quicker, apps open immediately, and everything feels snappy. Here's what this means in real life. Booting games takes seconds on an SSD, but over a minute on an HDD. SSD is instant, HDD keeps you waiting. Your CPU isn't the bottleneck. Your RAM isn't the bottleneck. Your drive is. Cons of HDDs. Another problem with HDDs is the constant clicking and spinning, which can quickly become distracting. SSDs, in contrast to HDDs, are silent, generate less heat, and can even improve your laptop's battery life. Cons of SSDs. Compared to hard drives, SSDs are more expensive per gigabyte, which means you usually get less storage for the same price. This becomes especially noticeable at higher capacities. Another disadvantage is data recovery. If an SSD fails, recovering data is often very difficult or even impossible, whereas data recovery from HDDs is sometimes still possible. SSDs can also fail suddenly, without the warning signs that hard drives often show, such as clicking or slowdowns. While modern SSDs are designed to handle a large number of write cycles, they do have a limited write lifespan. For most users, this is not a real issue, but for very write-intensive workloads, it can still be a factor. Additionally, SSD performance can drop when the drive is almost full, which can slightly reduce speeds. Despite these downsides, for everyday use, the advantages of SSDs usually outweigh the negatives, but it's important to understand that SSDs are fast, not perfect. Which one should you choose? So the real question isn't which one is better. It's which one makes sense for you. Everyday/office. If you use your PC mainly for everyday tasks like browsing the web, working with documents, or watching videos, an SSD is by far the best upgrade you can make. Even an older system with a weak CPU can feel fast again, because programs open instantly and the system responds right away. For most people, this single upgrade makes the biggest difference in daily use. Gaming. For gaming, it's important to be realistic. An SSD will not magically increase your FPS. But what it does improve dramatically are loading times, launching games, loading levels, and fast traveling inside the game. Once you've played games from an SSD, going back to an HDD feels slow and frustrating. That's why an SSD is highly recommended for gaming, even if it doesn't boost raw performance. Storage/backup. If your main goal is storing large amounts of data, hard drives still make a lot of sense. They offer much more storage for a lower price, which makes them ideal for backups, photos, videos, and large media libraries. Since this kind of data isn't accessed very often, the slower speed of an HDD usually doesn't matter. HDDs are especially useful for long-term storage, external backup drives, or home servers where capacity is more important than speed. Just keep in mind that no drive lasts forever, so having proper backups is more important than the type of drive you use. Best setup for most people. For most users, the best setup is actually a combination of both. Use an SSD for your operating system, apps, and games, and an HDD for large files and backups. This way, you get the speed of an SSD where it matters and the storage capacity of an HDD where speed isn't critical. So it's not about SSD versus HDD. It's about using the right drive for the right job. So to sum it all up, SSDs give you speed and responsiveness, while HDDs give you lots of storage for a low price. For most people, using both is the smartest choice. If this video helped you, leave a like and consider subscribing. It really supports the channel and helps more people find this video.